Welcome to Health Oddity, the show that strips away the jargon and hype surrounding all things health and fitness to help you live a long, strong and energetic life. Lining up at the bar this week, here's Peter Lant, Paul Bassett and James St. Pierre.
Hello and welcome to the Health Oddity podcast, episode 129, I think. James is over in Val d'Isere, and he's usually in charge of telling us what episode it is, but he doesn't want to touch his phone just in case it all goes wrong. But there you go. We've got a cracking episode for you today. I actually, as we record this, at the time of recording, I actually went out for a coffee with our guest yesterday. I met him for the first time. I randomly friend requested him on Facebook, which I've been doing recently. Just randomly friend requesting people and opening up my network. And I randomly friend requested him before Christmas. And he messaged me like back and it was like, why did you friend request me? And then we got into a chat. And then it turns out he's a really interesting fella. You'll see why when we get into this. And then we met up, and he lives just up the road. So we met yesterday for a coffee and now we're doing this over Zoom. So that's very timely, which is great. But before we get on to our extra special guest, we'll go to James first. You might be able to hear him, you might not. If you're watching on YouTube, that is not a virtual background. He's actually in paradise. There it is. Look, he's showed us around. That is the sunshine there, which, isn't that lovely? But yeah, how's it going over there, James? You all right?
I'll keep it brief because I know the signal's not great, but yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you. And I really didn't want to miss this episode. So I have patched into it. My input may be minimal today because I don't know what the sound quality is like, but I will be watching and listening and enjoying. And happy to be here.
Excellent. Actually, that was okay. That was okay. So thank God for that. You got a lot of technology these days. Even in the middle of the mountains, you can speak to us. So that's great, isn't it? Paul, how are you doing?
Good. I mean, I think James is going to be like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Occasionally, he'll say use the Force or something. He'll be coming from the ether, just guiding us with his presence.
Okay.
No?
I'm not sure what you mean with that. No idea what you're talking about.
Well, he's not going to say much, and occasionally he'll punctuate things with no doubt very useful information.
Are you trying to say
Obi-Wan Kenobi did?
Oh, right. I thought you were
and
trying
he's got
to
a
say
beard.
he's starting to look like Alec Guinness.
Yeah. I mean, comedians never, say you should blame your audience, but you've got to keep up,
All right. Okay. I'll try. I'll try. In fact, if I put my hood up, I could be I could be a little bit like that, couldn't I? With the beard and everything. I just need a lightsaber.
Yeah.
But I haven't got one to hand because I'm a
You haven't got one. Yeah. I've got two actually. I've got two.
I thought but you've got kids, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a fully grown man, so I don't have toys. I'm just systematically going through alienating loads of different communities each episode, by the way. That's what I'm doing. So that I've done Marvel now and all of that lot. But there you go.
You're going to do Warhammer 40,000 next?
I might do, I might do that next week. Yeah. The old Space Marines and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I got out my little miniature paintbrush recently because I bought a load of new kettlebells. They're lovely, but obviously no one knows the weights because they're all black. So I had to go all the way around the numbers just so that people know whether it's 6 kilos, 8 kilos. So, it brought me back to the old days where I was painting ogres, goblins, Space Marines. Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't have a girlfriend for about.
I was going to say, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like that.
Look, there's loads of guys out there.
Because I used to do it.
Henry Cavill, pretty good looking guy, in great shape, played Superman, right? Loves Warhammer 40,000.
He does. I'm not allowed to like Henry Cavill because he's a crapo, which means he's a crapo, which means he's from Jersey, and my missus grew up on Guernsey, so
right.
They're crapos, basically people from Jersey, apparently. Sorry if I've offended anyone from Jersey as well. I've been reliably
who's
informed
next?
that if you want to take it up with anyone, take it up with Sean, who's my missus, who grew up on Guernsey.
He's going to have a go at vegans next, isn't he?
Yeah, good luck with that, cush his nails. Anyway, we've kept him waiting long enough. We have with us today Gary Clarke, who, like I say, I friend requested him on Facebook, and then we got chatting. And Gary, it turns out, organises hello, Gary, by the way, for a start.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yes.
I organise Britain's Disabled Strongman competition.
Britain's Disabled Strongman, right? Because I never know if it's
Britain's
UK, whatever, like what you call it. So Gary organises the Britain's Disabled Strongman event. So if you've ever seen, we had Donna Moore on, didn't we, a few episodes ago? And she's she's the strongest woman in the world. So she was on, and she does the Strong Woman, which is now they run the Strong Women events alongside the Strong Man events, I think, as well. So they have the men's and women's stuff. And then Gary, so if you've ever watched like the World's Strongest Man and stuff like that, Gary runs the British event, which is for disabled strongmen, which is absolutely fantastic.
It's the British Nationals, so it's a qualifier for the World Championships later in the year, yet to be confirmed.
Excellent. We'll love that. I love it. Honestly, the chat we had yesterday was so great. So I knew this was going to be a great episode.
Yeah, we could talk about sandbags and stones forever, couldn't we?
Sandbags and stones, yeah, because me and Gary had a chat. Gary had a chat, and I said we'd had Brooks Cubic on a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Have you? Brilliant! Oh, I'm so excited."
In Cubic, dinosaur training, fantastic. Oh,
yeah, cool. Absolutely. Yeah. So you can have a listen to that episode.
I need to buy a load of sand. Actually, it reminds me. I had to make a note of that. I've got a sandbag that needs filling, so
you can fill it with. It doesn't have to be sand. You can fill it with anything. Coffee,
glitter.
Yeah,
I got a couple that's full of rubble.
Yeah, what you want to do, actually, Paul, is fill it with helium, and then you can
like those fake weights.
Hold it above your head and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so like I say, me and Gary met up yesterday and had a great chat, and he does so much. I don't know where to start. So Gary, I'm going to pass it over to you, and you can what we usually do is people will just, like, any guest who comes on will tell us where they started, how you got into strongman, whether you've been into it your whole life or you got into it late or early or whatever. So we'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, no, I'm 46 next birthday. So I started powerlifting for Great Britain. I did disabled bench press for Great Britain. I went to the European Championships in Kavala in Greece in 2007. And Magnus and his friend Arna was there. And I said to Magnus, I said, "What are you guys doing here?" He said, "Well, we're trying to promote disabled strongman." And I said, "Well, I'd love to have a go." So at the time I was doing my degree in sports coaching and sports development. So I didn't really have a lot of time. So when I finished that, I contacted the guys in Iceland and went over there in 2011 for the World's Strongest Disabled Man contest, and the rest is history.
Excellent.
And they said to me over there, "Go on, Gary, you've got to start some in your own country." So after a few years of going to Iceland, I started at Britain's Disabled Strongman, the very first one, in 2015. And it was in Stoke-on-Trent.
Excellent. So you were representing Britain in 2007. Is that right, in Greece?
In Greece, in the European Powerlifting Championships. So that's bench press. I don't know whether you guys know, but in disabled powerlifting, they did it in bench press, but you lie completely flat. So the bench is completely flat, and you have your legs lined straight out.
Yeah.
And then you push from there. You get the start command at the top of your chest, and the referee says start, and you bring down, and then you press it up, and that's how we used to do that in those days. But,
so I think you said for powerlifting yesterday, didn't you? You said it was it's bench, deadlift, the seated deadlift.
No, the seated deadlift is a strongman movement that was devised. That's not in disabled powerlifting. All we do in disabled powerlifting for the IPC rules is just bench press.
Oh, okay.
They've not incorporated the seated deadlift yet, but there may be a time where people run standalone powerlifting competitions with that lift in. You never know. It's proved to be a very popular lift in strongman, so hopefully it'll branch over into powerlifting. Maybe, who knows?
Well, honestly, when you told me this yesterday as well, so what I got a bit confused there because I was like, well, if you were representing Britain at the European Championships,
it's completely separate
strongman didn't
from
start in
strong.
2015. I was like, how does that start? But it was powerlifting and not.
It was powerlifting. Yes, that's right. It's a completely different sport.
Got you.
But it's still strength based. So, I've been training with weights since I was 16. So that kind of gave me a base of strength, and it's gone on from there in various different formats. It's evolved,
Excellent.
From my own perspective.
So you started basically 30 years ago. What got you into it?
I've always been fascinated with strength, and I've never been able to sit still. I've probably got a bit of OCD knocking about, but I've always been quite active and wanted to do things. I've always been very dependent, and it's just weightlifting and strength training always appealed to me. So when I was 16, I got myself down a local leisure centre, and it's gone from there, really.
So what were you doing? What did you start off doing back then? Were you like, did you get straight into weightlifting?
No, I just did general gym lifting to build up a base of strength for the first couple of years, and I just carried on from there. Really went training regular and got involved in powerlifting, and from powerlifting I'm now involved with strongman.
Excellent. I love that. So,
Gary, I don't know if you can hear me, guys, but I just wondered with how does disabled strongman work? Because obviously there's a lot of different disabilities that people can have, and unlike most people who like the Paralympics, there's so many categories of disabilities that people have, and they all compete against each other. Is disabled strongman, is it kind of just mainly for one type of disability, or are there different events for people with different disabilities? I'm just wondering how it works.
No, we have a varied number of disabilities in disabled strongman, but we tend to put the guys into various different classes depending on seated and standing. So I'm in the seated men's class 2, which is reserved for people with neurological disabilities like cerebral palsy and spina bifida, for 2 examples. So we tend to lift not as heavy weights as the guys in seated class 1, which is generally reserved for people with one leg, and things like that. It's quite a complex classification system, but it's still in its very early days of being completely sorted out. It's a lot of these things are trial and error, and but it's all entertaining and it's all fantastic. I mean, when you get to see the show, you'll see what I mean. I mean, the athletes make the sport. I mean, every sport is a metaphor for its participants, is it not? So, disabled strongman, it's hard to describe my enthusiasm for it because the athletes are just brilliant.
I'd be interested to know because as you say, there's lots of different classifications. One of the things that we can find, particularly on the internet, is that people can be very specific about the way things are done. You have to lift in a particular way. This is the only way to do it. Whereas you must be coming at a lift and thinking very differently, kind of laterally, or coming at it from a different angle using different muscles. And that must be really interesting. You must be basically breaking some new ground in actually how do you approach strength, how do you activate core from based on the disability, etc. And obviously strongman tends to work with quite a varied set of equipment as well. So kind of give some examples of kind of like how you have to approach strongman or strength differently.
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can describe that from my own perspective, and I guess from a lot of the guys' perspective, is you've got to think outside the box, and you've got to you throw the rule book away, so to speak, in lots of terms, because strongman is very different, and you've just got to improvise, adapt, and overcome, as they used to say in the army. I believe that's an old army saying, I believe. But it's just you don't even think outside the box. We live outside the box, and that's the best way of describing it. This disabled strongman epitomizes that to the degree, I believe.
Yeah.
And as athletes, we're always evolving. As human beings, we're always evolving. It's just about learning new things every day, because every day is a school day, as they say.
What would you say? I mean, what would you be a big takeaway from that approach? I mean, in terms of the way people are approaching. I mean, you say you live outside the box, so it means this is kind of a world that you kind of probably quite comfortable in.
Yes.
What do you notice about that way of thinking in terms of working with maybe more conventional athletes? How do you think it could be of use to have that communication between, say, a typical strongman event as a disabled strongman event? You know, thinking outside the box.
I just think it proves beyond doubt that if there's something you want to do in life, no matter whether you've got an impairment or you haven't got an impairment, there's ways around it. There's ways of doing it. You know, there's ways of achieving. I think that's my main takeaway from it. And that's something that almost goes beyond the sport, if you will. That's a big takeaway for that, I think.
That was something when we were talking yesterday, Gary. That was something we kind of spoke about, and then I thought a bit about it, because we were talking about, you know, being able-bodied and disabled and stuff like that. But actually, it's not disabled. It's just an otherwise abled, isn't it? Like, you can still do stuff. It's just you do it differently.
Yeah, I mean, society says we're disabled, but I mean, it's just, it comes down to your mentality. You're only disabled in your own mind. If you think you can do something, then you've got the willpower to do it. You're, like you said before, you find a way of doing it, and it comes down to the
That's interesting.
The reason what I was thinking about, like, behind that was because, like, say for you, you've had to deal with it your whole life, basically. So you've been lifting weights for 30 years and dealing with this your whole life. But then someone like Martin, who we were speaking about yesterday as well, who I'll talk about in a minute, but he was in the forces, wasn't he? And he lost the use of his legs through injury.
Yes.
So therefore, he's then had to deal with that later on in life. And he might have been lifted beforehand, he might not have been, but if he was, say, he's then got to learn how to lift differently. So he's got to learn it all again.
Absolutely. And I think,
and even for able-bodied people who, I don't like using that term, but people will understand that. So even for able-bodied people, you know, you get to a certain age. I didn't start lifting weights until I was in my between mid and late 30s, right? 36, 37, that sort of age. So only like 10 or 11 years ago. And at that point, I had to learn, you know, I might as well not have had use of anything and just have to learn how to do it. So it doesn't just apply to one demographic, it applies to everybody. And you start with,
absolutely. I mean, if you've got the willpower, you'll succeed, won't you? I think with the guys with coming in that have become disabled through an accident or through active service, some people have, I think they see us guys doing it, they've done it all our lives, and if they can adapt, so can we. And you know, a lot of the service people, I know they're trained, like I said before, improvise, adapt, and overcome. So it kind of fits their mentality, and that the service guys are great because they'll just go forward and do it. They'll find a way of doing it. You know, we've got several ex-servicemen involved in Disabled Strongman, and they're phenomenal athletes. You know, they have adapted and they have overcome. So they're testament to that phrase, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it turns out we've shared the same space previously as well, because it was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think, probably about 4 years ago. I was at the North Somerset show, and they had a strongman competition on there, didn't they?
That's right. It was Martin Ty doing the seated deadlift, wasn't it? 501.
He did the seated deadlift, and he lifted 501 kilos, which is the most that had ever been lifted off the floor by anybody. Because Eddie Hall's record was 500 kilos, wasn't it? But then you and I was like, so that's a huge amount. And then I saw that he broke.
It is, but I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
Well, I saw that he broke the record again. He got like 525 or something like that. But tell us now. Go on, blow our minds. Tell us now what the seated deadlift record is right now.
Okay, so fair play to Ty. He did 501, then he did 550 at the Arnold's in 2020, and then Dave Walsh recently at the Arnold's UK did 646 kilograms. That's kilograms, not pounds. 646 kilograms.
600. So Eddie Hall lifted 500 and it nearly killed him. Like if you watch the video of that, he passes out, and then for days after he had internal bleeding and all of that sort of stuff.
But I mean, fair play to Martin initially for doing the 500 as well. That's a landmark, and that can never be forgotten.
Absolutely.
You know,
646 is it's mind-boggling.
I mean, it's the
quite a
most
lot.
anybody's ever lifted in the history, you know, in strength history potentially. We don't know what went on hundreds of years ago, but it seems logical that could be the case, could it not?
How was it actually lifted? So how was the
So it's on a seated deadlift. So we kind of picture yourself on a stool. All right, it's 18 inches high, and we have the bar on the floor. So we sit with our legs over the bar, and we bend down and pick the bar up and sit back up with it. If I can take you into the front room, I've got one in the front room, so I won't do that.
You have to have a good seat. You have to have a good seat, don't you?
You can't just do it on an 18-inch plastic chair. That's not.
No, you can't do it on a deck chair.
Fortunately, I've been making the seats all right because it was actually lifted on one of the seats that I built. So I must be doing something right with the welding.
Well, this is something else that's really, honestly, we've got so much to talk about. It's like this is going to go off in loads of different directions, but this is one thing you started over lockdown, didn't you, as well? Because there was no actual, nobody manufacturing anything for this. So you were just using like normal weightlifting benches, weren't you?
I had a couple that was made for the Brits back along, but they were on two sections and they shook about a bit.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, if I always wanted to learn to weld. I thought, well, I've got time. I was on the furlough back in first lockdown, so I had loads of time spare. So I thought, if I'm going to learn to weld, I'm going to learn to weld now. So basically, thank God for Amazon, I managed to build a complete workshop in my house during lockdown. I say in now, not in the house. Well, it's overlapped a bit now, but it's out the back. It's all right. I don't get the grinder out in the front room. It's all right.
Just do a bit of welding while everyone's having dinner.
Yeah. It's like, don't mind me.
Do a creme brulee.
I live on my own, so unfortunately, I've got the freedom to do what I want. But so basically, I've cut a long story short. I managed to make it. I think it's 31 deadlift seats so far.
Wow.
Yeah, and you were saying you've got it down like really, really well now. It takes like a few days to make one, doesn't it now?
A few days now, yeah. In the beginning, it was like 2 weeks. So you know, you learn different ways of working. You again improvise, adapt, and overcome, isn't it? And that's as disabled athletes. That's one of our main strengths, you know. So that can apply to all forms of life, not just competition. In all forms of life, you know. Whatever you do.
I'll tell you what, I love it as well. Because it's up there with like you know, for the world record, you were like, I made the seat that it was done on. I put one of the plates on the bar.
I was kind of sat there thinking, oh god, but no, it was fine. It didn't even flinch, so it was good. I was quite proud of that fact that I've managed to aid in somebody doing that, because it's a phenomenal feat of strength, and
it's a good test of your welding. It's a good test of your welding, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said to you, fair play to Dave Walsh for doing it, because it's phenomenal, and it was one of the things that I live along in my memory for sure.
Yeah. So you've got, like, so you were saying you've got like a bit of a workshop out the back, and you do welding out there, but you've got your shed out there, your shed of strength, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, I train in my shed, so I've got all my equipment. Well, some of my equipment in the shed. I've got some really old school deep dish plates that probably from the 60s.
Wow.
So I actually train in my shed, so on mostly things that I've built. So yeah, I've managed to develop that in the lockdown as well. So
have you taken a lot of, because obviously as a sport, it's probably a new developing sport in many ways, you know.
Obviously
everyone's always wanted to be strong, but you must be discovering new people who are coming into these strongman events. What are you noticing about integrating the strength training principles into their level of function, their approach to their body, their mindset? What are you starting to see change about people who really commit themselves to the strongman training?
The biggest thing is people's confidence, you know, that I've seen in people, you know. It's with these athletes, everyone's got a story to tell, you know. They've been through some hard times, but when they get involved in strongman or any sport, it just gives them a lift that they wouldn't get from anywhere else. It's the camaraderie, the competitiveness, the will to win. That's all there with these guys, and it's just phenomenal to see every time. And that's why it gives me it's an honor and a privilege to put a platform out for people.
Well, that's the thing. You don't lose those desires. So, those things don't change. Those things are still human. They're very present.
Absolutely.
It's a great exploration, isn't it?
A lot of these people have been depressed and whatnot, and it's managed to reignite those fires in them, which is fantastic. That's the bigger picture, isn't it? That's the bigger picture.
Yeah. I mean, what's it done? I mean, what's it done for you particularly? I mean, how, as you've gone through this and as you've taken a bigger role in the community and you've been kind of instrumental in kind of creating these events. I mean, what's been your own evolution in terms of your approach to your body, to your mindset, to your confidence since as you've evolved through the sport?
It's been my life, really. I mean, I've dedicated my life to strongman, but like I said, it's an honor and a privilege to do so. And I've got stronger myself in the process, but it doesn't matter who promotes what show. It's about the athletes and how they progress. And it's just phenomenal to see every time we go out.
One question I'd be interested to know is what's next for the sport? I mean, where do you see it going? Where do you see it evolving? Is there events that people haven't tried yet, or kind of lifts that still seem like they're in the distance that, obviously this 650 kilo lift.
Yeah, that's the question. When's that going to end? Is it going to be 800 kilos? No, we just don't know. I mean, time will tell with that. We don't know what people are capable of. Every day we get surprised by human endeavor, don't we? So we shall see where it takes us.
Yeah, so with that in mind, we might as well get to this now and tell everyone. But there's an event coming up this year, isn't there?
Yeah, the Britain's Disabled Strongman will be on the 17th and 18th of June.
And where's that?
It's Chard in Somerset.
Chard, yeah, in Chard, not the Shard in
London,
but Chard in Somerset.
Chard, yes.
Yeah, and I'll be there. It'll be 17th and 18th. I've already got it in my calendar. Sean's put it in her calendar.
There you go. You're both there.
We're all over it. It'll be great. Yeah. So
network before that and make it even bigger.
Absolutely. So you were saying there's going to be some, because you've done a couple before lockdown, but then you did one last year, didn't you? And then you had a time off over lockdown. Obviously, you did one last year.
Well, yeah. The first Britain's was in 2015. Then we went up to 2019, and then we had 2020 off for the lockdown, and then 2021, and obviously last year, and then this year 23.
Yeah. And there's going to be I think you were saying there's 30 competitors in this one.
Well, no, it would depend now, because obviously Martin Ty's running the England's Disabled Strongman at the Fit Expo in Manchester.
Oh, okay.
So then the top guys are qualified for Britain. So that's yet to be worked out how we're going to do that. But rest assured, the top people will be at the Britons. It won't, it'll be streamed down somewhat, but the top athletes will be there.
Excellent.
And then the Britons will be a qualifier for wherever the World Championships is going to be later on in the year. So it's a big year for us this year. I will say that. It's a big year for the sport, big year for the athletes.
So where can people, apart from coming along, will it, is it televised? Will there be any, can you watch it anywhere, or is there a YouTube channel, or how it happens for the for the World's Strongest Man, say, and that's usually in May, isn't it? But then it's televised at New Year, and you can watch it on Channel 5 and stuff like that. But with this,
it's not on mainstream TV yet, although we have had some TV exposure. But I do get it filmed every year, so it'll be on a live stream, and that'll be on YouTube forevermore after the event.
Brilliant.
So people can see it. People can log into YouTube and see Britain's Disabled Strongman on there, and other strongman competitions. See the athletes performing. It's just a good way to see how the sport works and what kind of things people do. So if people want to get involved with it, they can contact me. They can contact Martin Ty, or any of the athletes. We're all on social media. We don't mind being approached every now and then with the odd question here and there about how do I get involved in the sport? What do I do? You know, we're happy to help people, but just bear in mind some of us have really busy lives, so it's difficult to get back to everyone sometimes. But I'll always try and get back to you in the end.
Oh no, totally. I mean, we'll do that at the end anyway, and we'll get links because there's a Facebook group which I not a group, a page.
Yes.
Which I liked yesterday, and so you're going to make that more active again, haven't you? Because that's been a bit thingy. But if there's a YouTube channel and everything as well, we'll put all the links in the show notes so people can know where they can find all of the information on this stuff. Because I'm sure there'll be loads of people interested, and hopefully there's people out there listening or have friends. If they're listening, they'll have friends who will be like, right, do you know what? Actually, this is exactly what they need.
Yeah, Martin Tice started up a website as well called GB Strongman.
Okay.
So people that want to look at that as well. So that's a good website to look at. That gives you details and how to get involved. And I know they're looking for athletes for their show, so it all adds to the mix, and we're all working together, which is fantastic.
And you're also looking for I mean, we might as well put all this out there. You're looking for a videographer as well, aren't you?
Well, I'm looking for somebody to give the videographer a hand with what he's doing, because he obviously sometimes needs a spare pair of hands as well. So I've got a videographer in place, but I just need somebody to help him as well. So
okay, that's
if anyone knows of anyone, let me know.
Yeah, and you need volunteers to load plates and all of that sort of stuff, don't you?
Yeah, but that's all in the pipeline, so we'll get that sorted out. But
that's cool. But now you never know. The reason why I'm saying it is because you never know who's listening, and there might be someone who'll go, "I can help you out with all of that," and you'll be like,
"Absolutely,
go." So that's what I'm starting to learn in this world: is you just start talking about stuff, and somebody will go, "I can help you with that."
Yeah, well, unless you put
exactly what I do.
You're like, exactly right. Yeah.
You actually want to meet the listeners, Peter? You know, it's a
well, I've met a few of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Met James's brother.
Our listener.
Yeah.
I am. Can you guys hear me now? I was away for a little bit, but I've logged into the Wi-Fi and it seems to be really clear now.
Yeah, it's a lot better now. Crystal clear there.
You would have thought that would have been obvious, right?
But what was your data charge?
Without going into too much technical stuff, I hadn't been able to get onto the Wi-Fi, but then I kept getting dropped out, so I thought I'd try. And now the three of you are moving perfectly and sounding perfect, so I may be on. But unfortunately, I've missed about 10 minutes, so I'm really. If you can just go over the last 10 minutes again, that would be great.
Shall I stop it now and I'll play it back for you? And then. So, Gary, what sort of events are we looking at? Because this fascinates me, because obviously we've talked about the bench press and people will be able to visualize how that works.
Yeah.
And then we've got the seated deadlift, and you can kind of almost visualize that because the bar. The bar's below you, isn't it? And you kind of swing it back, you said, but it has to lift off the floor.
You lift off the floor, yes, quite.
Yeah, so you've actually got to sort of straighten your back with it, sort of thing, and then it's
a lot of elite strongmen and different strong guys and ladies have been undone by it, because they might think it looks easier, but it's definitely not,
I saw when Martin did it. Because, like I say, I was at the thing, and it didn't look it didn't look easy to me. Put it that way.
Well,
So what other events are there? Because obviously, it'd be great for people to know what to expect when they come along.
Yeah, we do the dumbbell press. So for the standing guys, it's probably easy to explain. They would do things very similar to what you'd see on the TV anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But the seated guys, we do things from a wheelchair. So if we've got the or even a bench, but if we've got the dumbbell, we normally say, for example, we do a dumbbell medley. We might start on a 20-kilo dumbbell, move up, and then do a 30-kilo dumbbell, 40-kilo dumbbell, 50-kilo dumbbell. I think the most I've seen in the dumbbell medley is a 60-kilo dumbbell, I believe.
Wow.
So. Because
obviously that's without the use. I mean, people might not realize. People who are into strength training will realize that you're pressing something above your head, like seated down, is way harder than standing.
Because because
you
have
use
the leg
your
drive.
legs. You do use your legs to
Yeah.
not to drive it up, but that you contract that muscle in it, it adds to the strength for the press.
Yeah,
obviously you guys don't have that, so putting 60 kilos above your head, it's just using your upper body, isn't it?
Yes, because we have our legs strapped when we're in the wheelchair, so we don't allow people to use their legs at all in the seated class, which is how it should be, because there's a seated class.
Yeah. No, but I'm just trying to get across to people how much harder that actually is. Just put the weight above your head.
Unless people have tried it, you'll never know, will you? It's impossible sometimes.
Yeah. And you said you've got did you say there's Atlas stones as well?
Atlas stones, yes. So like I said before, the standing guys will do it very similar to what they would see on the TV, but the seated guys, right? You're in a wheelchair, okay? You've got a tray on steel tray on the front. The wheelchair's reinforced, so you've got an oil drum one side of you, an oil drum the other side, and you take the stone from one side and transfer it across. So say you, for example, you start on a 50 kilo stone, so you might do 5 stones in a medley. So you're going to do the 50 kilo stone, move across to the 60, and then move across to the 70, 80, 90. I think the most I've seen done in a competition is 140 seated.
Wow. It's I can't wait to come along. I'm going to be looking it up on YouTube after this as well straight away, because I want to.
Well, you must do, because it's an eye opener for a lot of people, but it's good because it should be strong, because otherwise it would be strongman, would it? It can't be, this sport can't be a tokenism thing. It's got to be hard and heavy, otherwise it wouldn't have the same impact.
Well, that's because that's one of the biggest draws of strongman. It's I find it quite funny because people aren't necessarily into like Olympic weightlifting or anything like that, but you watch the world's strongest man and the weights are just ridiculous, just out of this world, aren't they? And that's what it's all about. So I'm really pleased that you've said that. It's like, it is people doing things that are just shouldn't be allowed, you shouldn't be able to do.
There's a certain grace to Olympic weightlifting that sometimes the best make it look easy. When you see them shift 200 kilos, it just floats. And I mean, the thing is about the strongman events is they always look brutally uncomfortable.
They pass out at the end of it and they go, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing comfortable about it, I assure you. You've got to, like I said before, you've got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
You've just reminded me of something actually about because we were talking about Mark Felix yesterday. He's 56. So he holds the record for the, what's that called?
It's the Hercules hold.
Hercules hold. So in this year's World's Strongest Man, or last year's one, sorry, that was shown at Christmas, they had the thing where they had to just stand. They had to stand up and just hold. I can't remember how heavy the weight was, and just hold it and not drop it, and just stand there. And I said, like, Brian Shaw was, who's won it like 4 times, hasn't he? And he's 40 now, I think.
And Brian's just turned 40.
Yeah, he held it for almost a minute, and everyone was trying to hold it for a minute to get to qualify, to be up the top of the table. And some of them only held it for 20 seconds, and you could see them wobbling. Mark Felix, who's 56, held it for like 2 minutes 20.
Yeah, I mean, his hands are
everyone out of the water.
I mean, I've got big hands, but Mark Felix's hands, fingers probably come up to there. Shook his hand one time, and it's crazy. His hands are massive.
Yeah. But it's just so how, and that's what the reason why I'm saying that is you told me how old is the oldest competitor in
we have a competitor that's just turned 60, I believe.
Wow.
But yeah, he's phenomenal. Yes, he's phenomenal, gent.
And will he be there in June?
I'm hoping so. If he's injury free, absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. That'll be great to watch. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if you've talked much about. I know we mentioned Brooks Cubic near the start, but because Brooks is 65 now, isn't he? And he's still doing strong lifting and lifting all his logs and his trees and things like that on the beach.
Yeah, because
training every single day. So
he's been active his whole life, hasn't he? So it's just second nature to him.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I was really taken back when you said you spoke to him. That was brilliant.
Well, you can thank James for that. James is a massive fanboy. And he just sent me a message saying, "Do you want to come on our podcast, please?" And he said yes. It was like,
anyway. Yeah, well, I'm off to the I go to the UK's strongest man and strongest woman. I think that's in May in
bank
Nottingham.
holiday.
I'm going up there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, May, but you're going as well, aren't you? G?
Yeah, I'll see you there. That's Sean. Sean got me tickets for it for my birthday. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I'll be there with my little 6-year-old. Well, 6-year-old daughter's coming with me, and then I'm going to the one at the Royal Albert Hall, the Strongman Classic they do at the Royal Albert Hall. I think it's in June.
Oh,
and then obviously I'll get and then I'll obviously get the dates from you, Gary, and hopefully come to Shard and watch the Disabled Strongman as well, which would be great.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
Yeah. Is that going to be held outside? Is it an outdoor event or is it
it's
indoors?
Indoors.
Oh, okay. You get a bit of rain down there, don't you? So you got to be a bit careful, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly right. You haven't got that worry when you're indoors, so it's good.
Excellent.
You want to be doing it in Miami, like the world's strongest man do. Just do it over there. That maybe's next year.
Well, yeah, maybe we'll see. There's things in the pipeline. I can't say too much at the minute, but yeah.
So how big is this going to get? Is this going to be? Because I was talking yesterday as well about Donna Moore, who we interviewed, and then now the strong man and strong women compete alongside each other, not against each other, but they compete alongside each other at the same events. And then obviously, it was kind of like we were talking a little bit about, and James alluded to earlier with the Olympics and Paralympics and how they classify the Paralympic events and stuff like that. And obviously they don't run at together. But they're starting to look at well, actually, they were doing it at the Commonwealth Games, weren't they? They were running the disabled events alongside the able-bodied events.
Yeah,
so
they did, didn't they?
How far do you think we are away from that? Do you think that's a?
I mean, that could happen. That could happen, but at the moment we're running standalone shows. I think they deserve to be standalone shows, but there's no reason why in the future we couldn't run stuff alongside able-bodied people. No reason at all.
Yeah, because then obviously just like the exposure for it will be massive.
We have done. There's been worlds in Canada where they've run our worlds alongside an able-bodied competition. So it has happened. Yes, and it worked well. Sorry, I forgot about Canada.
Because I know, I think Donna went out and competed in America at like the Strongman Games, where they had male and female competing against each other in different masters categories as well. Yeah, so I mean that would be amazing if you had. Yeah, and it's like a whole 3-day kind of event with hundreds and hundreds of competitors. So
that's right.
It'd be amazing if it could actually be, like you say, you get all of these events running and it's almost like a huge festival of strength and everyone competes with each other, because then obviously you get so many more spectators and so much more publicity and sponsorship and all of that, don't you? That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Would be good, yeah.
Yeah, we should that'd be amazing, because you could have it like the ridiculous Olympics or something like that, because everything is just so ridiculously massive. You've got to go and pick them up. Fantastic. I love it. Be like Monty Python when they have the silly Olympics, but not silly, just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Excellent. So that's on. That's June the 17th and 18th, 2023, isn't it? In Chard.
Yeah.
So we'll I'll put. Is there any links to anywhere where people can find that? Is there any like websites or anything at the minute? And if
I will I'll put the date out there. I will put the date out there on Facebook. Obviously, this podcast isn't going out live, is it? So
no. This will go out it'll be out now, obviously, because people are listening to it, if you know what I mean. But no, just like if in case there's a link to a website or anything like that, and then we can put that in the show notes so people can click on the link. And
but when you actually publicizing this podcast,
this one goes out on hang on, 3rd, 10th. This will go out on the 17th. of February.
That's good. I got time to put the dates up on Facebook before it goes out. Then that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, fair enough. That's cool. So what's the I mean, we can probably wrap up there. I think we've got a decent amount of information about all this, which is great.
Okay. What's the time at the moment then?
Sorry?
What's the time right now? I can't see my clock on my phone.
It's 5 to 3. You've got.
Oh, that's okay. We're good.
Yeah, sorry, we've got to cut this a little bit short because Gary's got to go to work because he works for the.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So what? If you can tell me what the Facebook group's called again? It's
Britain's Disabled Strongman Competition.
Britain's Disabled Strongman Competition.
Yeah.
And you said you can find this stuff on YouTube. Is there a YouTube channel specifically, or can people just search?
Yeah, I believe it's under Warner Vision.
Warner Vision.
The last competition.
I'll look for that. I'll look that up and put it in the show notes and link it.
Okay. Yeah.
So people can click on and go and watch it.
Yeah, and that's the guy that done the live stream. So we had to put it through his channel. There was a technical malfunction on the day, so we had to feed it through his channel for some reason. I'm not a technical whiz kid, so I don't know the reason for that, but I know we had to do it through his channel.
That's fair enough. That's cool. So Warner Vision, Britain's Disabled Strongman Competition. Yeah, that should be another thing. People can find out what they need there. And then, like you said, you're happy for people to get in. I mean, to get in touch. You're obviously a busy man and you've got a job and a life and stuff like that. But if anyone's got any questions, they can shoot you a message. Is that all right? Or...
Yes, that's fine. Yeah, anyone, like I said, any one of the athletes, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Paul, have you got any final thoughts?
No, I mean, the thing is, it's just fascinating to hear how people approach different problems, because ultimately, I think that's what this podcast is about. Really, it's about everyone comes in with their own unique story, the unique approach to their well-being, and the question is how do you kind of go through all those kind of? A lot of the time, we blame external events, don't we? We kind of say, I was sitting down talking to someone today, and they were saying, look, my heritage means that we're more predisposed to XYZ genetic issues, etc., and stuff like that. And this has been in my family, and we can kind of get into our head that that's the route we're going to go down. And often with things like disability, it's very easy to categorize what people's outcomes are going to be. And really, what this strongman shows with this like insane ability to lift over 600 kilos is that really no one knows what someone's capable of. The only reason that perhaps you're not capable is either that everyone around you is just telling you you're not, or you've never been put in a situation in which you've been allowed to express that inner ability.
Exactly. It's about banishing negative stereotyping, isn't it, as well?
Exactly. I mean, we all know, that we use strength. I mean, because strength, we love strength. We love it as a passion, as a tool, as a way of getting people healthy. But we use it as a method of creating mental strength, and a tool to express what it is to be the best version of you. And I think in a way, sometimes strongman is an extreme sport. It's extreme compared to going on a treadmill or going for a spins class or going for a nice swim. It's an extreme high risk sport. And really those things, it's great to see what people can do, it's exciting to watch. And I think a lot of people will go to these events and go, how the hell did that just happen? I like those kind of things. There's an element of just craziness in certain sports, which I really enjoy watching,
Yeah, absolutely. It is phenomenal, and every day is a joy to be involved with it. It's at the end of the day, it's about the athletes first and foremost. They make the sport what it is, and I salute them because they're just phenomenal. And like I said before, it's an honour and a privilege to be one of the people that's putting out a platform for people to showcase this.
I love that. I love it. James, any?
Yeah, I'll keep it fairly brief. Like I say, I'm not sure how well it's going to sound coming through, but I'm really glad. I kind of sorted out the technical issues and came on, and it's been a pleasure to meet Gary. And I'm really I love the strongman stuff, and I like going to watch it now, and I have been brought up with it. as a kid. You know, it was a staple in my house, watching the strongman every Christmas since I was probably younger than 10 years old or something. So, and I think that speaking to Donna Moore a few months ago about the female strongman, the side of the side of the strong woman competitions, and that side opened up. Lots of people that I follow now, and then obviously speaking to you, Gary, is a whole nother side of strongman, which I think I am probably, I'm more involved in this kind of stuff than most, and it's not something that I was really aware of. So hopefully, this is going to broaden that kind of knowledge and that appeal. And get more eyes on the sport and more focus on the sport. And yeah, like I say, if I can get down to the event that you're running in June and meet you and see Pete down there, I will be there. I think it sounds fantastic. And like you say, it's just great to see people being empowered, really, and just doing everything that they can to take control and to take personal responsibility and personal empowerment and just getting stronger. I love it, and I can't wait to see it in person. So thank you for coming on.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for giving me a platform.
I just want to quickly add, I think I'd love to actually see the seated deadlift, because I'm thinking it might be a perfect exercise for some of my clients, because I might have a go on it. It sounds awesome.
I can certainly build you a seat.
Give him a few days and he'll have you one knocked up out the back.
A little bit of a plug there.
It's good for 6. James, did you hear how much the record was, by the way? Were you on at the time?
No, I missed that bit. No, like I say, I dropped in and out, and then since I've come back in on the Wi-Fi, it's been really smooth from my end anyway. But no, I missed that.
The world record for the seated deadlift is 646 kilos.
Oh my God.
That's in the seated class one. Mate. Obviously, we've got other records in other classes, but for the seated class one, it's 646 kilos done by Dave Walsh.
It's bonkers. That's just absolutely bonkers.
Wow.
So, Paul,
I'll have to look at that. I'll look at that on YouTube as soon as we get off. I'm sure I'll be able to find some seated deadlift stuff. Yeah.
For you there, Paul. As Gary's just said, that he'll build you a seat, and then you're good for at least 6. All of your clients should be all right with that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll probably be able to at least max out on 60 kilos, something like that.
You'll surprise yourself. Yeah.
Excellent.
Wow.
Well, for me on that, number one, thanks for coming on, Gary. It's just same as what James said. I'm like, you watch all of this stuff, and I wasn't really aware that there was a disabled event in this. I saw Martin do his deadlift, obviously, but I wasn't aware there was a whole kind of movement going on. So that is really good, and it's right close to where I live as well. So that's like, all of this stuff's going on right around me. So it's made me aware of that. So I'm going to be there. But similar to what Paul said, when people say, "Oh, this is holding me back," that's holding me back, and it's all about overcoming. And we talk a lot about that, and that's like, we all talk a lot about that, about how strength can help you overcome a lot of things, strength of body and strength of mind, regardless of whether it's as strong as the next person or whatever. It doesn't matter, because it means what it means to you. And for me, it's always like, you can find someone in a situation and they go, that situation is holding me back. And you can always find the opposite, someone in the same situation, and they're like, that situation has driven me forwards.
Yeah.
So it's your choice, isn't it? And it's how you view it. And you can, if people let things hold them back, okay, that's fine. But it just means it will. Whereas if you use things to spur you on, you get more used to letting setbacks spur you on and overcoming things and becoming more resilient and having a goal and all of that. And that's what we kind of try to drive across with this podcast in a gentle way. But everyone's capable of something. So
absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you for that, Gary. Thank you.
That's my pleasure.
So we've got Britain's Disabled Strongman competition on Facebook. If you just put that in the search bar, you will find that page. And then I will put a link into the YouTube stuff for the competition. I might even find the YouTube deadlift as well. I'll see if I can find that as well. But that's brilliant. But if you like this, please like and share. Hopefully, you lovely listeners out there will be sharing this with people who you know this will help and impact. And we might get a whole new audience. Who knows? That'd be amazing. That'd be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, please like and share. Thanks, Gary, for coming on. Thank you all out there for listening. We really appreciate you, and we'll see you next week with somebody else, because I don't know who it is. Anyway, thanks.
No problem at all. Thank you, gentlemen.
Cheers, Gary.
You've been listening to Health Odyssey with Peter Lant, Paul Bassett, and James St. Pierre. To get your regular fix of hype-free health, you can subscribe and leave a review wherever you get your favorite podcasts. You can find out more on today's and other topics at healthodyssey.com, or find us on Facebook or Instagram by searching for Health Odyssey.